What's going on, Dunces family? Yes, we are back with another episode of the Dunces Podcast. It is me, Jay, my boy Sandro, and as you can see, I am in a different setting. I moved. That's why we haven't posted in a while. I won't give you guys my direction though, because that's just weird.
They're gonna
But
dox you.
right. So Isandro, what's going on, bro? Are you ready today? Are you finally, are you back? Are you happy that we're back on podcasting terms, I guess you can say?
I feel like it's we're starting fresh. We both have new
Hell yeah.
surroundings. We're just
That's right. How was your
motivated.
move from
Yeah.
downstairs to upstairs?
It was a move. I definitely moved. I am
Nice.
here. I am in a different place. If that answers your question.
Are you in a different place mentally or just physically?
Yeah,
Or a
just
little bit of both?
yeah, man. Whatever that means. It was just a difficult move, but I'm glad it's over.
I bet. No, I know. I'm still technically in the process. Hopefully next week you're seeing my TV up here. That's exciting. So yeah. Also, this isn't just a little podcast for those who don't know. Oh, let me stop. All right, listen. Isandro, let's talk about some stuff going on around the league. The fact that you caught it so late.
I forgot about that. Oh man, I really gotta start hitting the gym, man. I need it.
For those who understand. Oh my god! Let me stop.
Right.
Let me stop.
We're gonna leave that in.
Just stop talking about me. All right, listen. So, guys, we are here today to discuss a plethora of topics. In reality, it's really just one. We did want to, talk a little bit about what's going on in the league. Robert Sarver has been suspended and fined, a hefty fine, I might add, for a lot of misconduct that he's been doing in the Phoenix Suns organization. It's not pretty. It's not nice. But you know what? The league did what they had to do. So, it is what it is. We also saw Giannis get ejected in the FIBA World Cup thing, whatever that's called. And he apparently slapped some German dude in the face. It's pretty cool. Yeah, they're taking it seriously. Actually, the Jokic and Giannis game, that was crazy. I didn't watch it all. I saw the highlights. It's crazy. So if you're into that,
been going ham in Eurobasket,
bro. It's been fun, bro. It's been fun. Shout out Luka, who just a little teaser for y'all. Luka will definitely be mentioned in this video. But now that we are back, let's talk about the top 5 point guards in this upcoming 2022-2023 NBA season. So yes, we are taking still a little pause from our 30 teams. You might not even be able to do it anymore because at this point we kind of talked about the most important ones, so like all the ones or whatever. But if you guys still want that, please let us know in the comments below. We'll definitely post that maybe throughout the season. But yeah, and let us know what team. Instagram too. We're there. Dunces Podcast. Check us out. But let's talk about this, Isandro. There's 30 obviously starting caliber point guards in the NBA right now. Some of which I guess you can say they're still starter caliber players, Russell Westbrook. But then there's, your obvious stars, Steph Curry, Luka, as we mentioned before, and so many others, right? But at the end of the day, there's only going to be 5 that we are going to inevitably come up with. So let me give you a list of names of just point guards in general, right? And we're talking borderline all-star to all-star caliber point guards. We have a player in Mike Conley from Utah, as of now. We have Trae Young from Atlanta. Now, Atlanta has 2 point guards. So who are we classifying in this one? Because we will be doing a shooting guards one soon. Is Trae Young or DeJounte the point guard on this team? I say we give it to Trae.
That's a great question. Yeah, I'd just say just because he's been the point guard. But DeJounte he's not a shooting guard though. It feels like just a position. We'll talk about it later at another time.
We'll talk about it later.
It's such a loaded question.
As of now though, we have players like that. We have Kyle Lowry, Russell Westbrook, like I mentioned. Cole Anthony, who's on the Orlando Magic. Definitely not a top 5 point guard, but just bringing him up. Markel. We have John Wall is coming back from injury. Yeah. But let's get into like the bigger names, right? James Harden. Ja Morant, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry,
Kyrie
Irving, is he going to be classified as a shooting guard? Because we have Ben Simmons. I don't know.
Ben's not going to play point. He'll probably have the ball in his hands like consistently, but he won't play point
guard.
Nah, he's going to be like in the Draymond role. I mean, are we going to classify Draymond as a
Yeah,
point guard? Nah.
you're right. You're right. So there's definitely a lot of names like these. Even Kate Cunningham. Is Kevin Porter? Yeah, I'd say Kevin Porter Jr. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's a lot of players that we can mention. But as of right now, who is your at least somebody that you'd like to consider besides obviously Steph Curry is there. We're not going to say the where we have them ranked just yet. We just want 5 names right now. So we got Steph Curry up there, right? Luka, right? Ja. 2 more that we need to fill in there. There's
All
Trae
right,
Young,
well,
like I
I
mentioned.
will tell you who I have in my 5th spot, and then you're going to either, well, I mean, you
Okay,
do what
let's
you
do it.
want. I'll just tell you what I got
No,
my,
let's do
my
it.
number 5 spot. I got at number 5, it was between Damian Lillard and James Harden.
Good one. I didn't
I
even
think
mention Dame. But yeah.
I think Dame is going to be regular, like he's just going to go back to being regular old
He's gonna be
Dame.
Dame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think James is going to be regular, not the same Houston, obviously, we all know that, but he'll be James Harden. And James Harden has always been better than Dame. There's been no question. So if we get similar
True.
versions of both those players, with James Harden actually having like a better supporting cast than Dame, we're going to see a better point guard.
How much does winning factor into this though? Like, are
Winning,
we talking individual talent or are we talking as a
it's
whole,
got to be a
leading the
balance
whole
of
offense?
both, but one has more weight to the other because you can't really put too much weight on somebody balling out on a bad team, which it's going to be Dame. So yeah, Dame will
Yeah.
be good, but so will James, but then he'll actually be contributing to wins. Even when he was bad last season, he was still contributing just without his scoring. But,
Right.
obviously being the second best player on the team, you needed him to score. But in terms of just like a point guard being the second option on that team, we're going to see him actually like just repeat that, like be the contributing factor like to them, you know,
Yeah.
being the team that
But
they're going to be next season.
okay, so I can understand the Harden over Dame thing, right? But if we're going to factor everything in, let's factor some winning into this, right? If LaMelo Ball, for example, if he brings that team to a play-in slash 8th seeded, that team that he has now currently constructed, is he not a top 5 point guard in the league?
No,
Wow.
because even if he somehow brings that team to a play-in spot, the talent still needs. And I know it's crazy I'm saying this because it's LaMelo, but automatically you say LaMelo bringing a young team to a certain spot, and obviously this guy that I'm going to mention isn't going to be the main force like LaMelo would be, but he's going to be a little more talented next season, in my opinion. It's Darius Garland. And we're talking about a guy on a young team who's going to help them reach new heights. Now, of course, Cleveland is a much better team, right? But you have to
Right, of
think
course.
about how
For
LaMelo's going to
All-Star.
get that team to that play-in spot, which is what he's done before, right? He's
Yeah.
gonna, have bad efficiency, have some flashy plays, have a couple really good games, but overall be very inconsistent, and then they're gonna burn out. What have we seen from Darius Garland? We've seen good, consistent, meaningful basketball when the whole team is healthy.
Hmm.
Him and
Damn.
him and Jared Allen. I know I'm bringing another player into this. They've just been working so well
Yeah,
together. If
the best
LaMelo
pick and
had
roll. Yeah.
that second guy, that would help him. That would bring out more in him. We'd see more of LaMelo. But right now, Darius Garland has
Yeah.
every opportunity in the world to be the better player.
That's
LaMelo doesn't really have the opportunities to shine.
see, I understand that. I understand that point of view. So, okay. All right. As of now, let's just say we have, like I mentioned before, Steph, Luka, Ja, the final 2 spots. You're putting James Harden as your 5th guy, right? So, are you putting Darius Garland there? Are you putting LaMelo? Are you putting Chris Paul, who I didn't even mention yet? Cade, who are you putting in there as the other guy?
Um, so for me, in my 4th spot, it has to go to Trae Young. I think Trae Young.
Really?
Just
You see,
because,
I think Darius is better than Trey.
nah, just because neither are good
Ooh.
defensively. So that
That's
would have
true
been
too.
the only thing separating them. Like Darius is marginally better, I guess. So if you're not getting defense, who's better offensively. Trae Young averaged
Trae
like what
Young is
29 points and 8 or
Trae
9
Young is
assists,
yeah
leading that
yeah
Hawks team that we saw how bad they were. Once he got shut down, that team was going nowhere. Trae Young,
yeah
the reason why I have him in fourth, and then we'll talk about who's going to go in my third spot, is because he got shut down in the playoffs. And the player I'm going to compare him to had a similar run. His team was better, obviously, but he didn't get shut down in the playoffs. That's my thing. Like when you're talking about the top players, yeah, you have a good regular season. We see how good you are, but how are you going to perform in the playoffs? So with Trae, um, comparing him to Darius Garland, I really think just being that one man offense, just doing everything, playmaking, doing this, and now he's got somebody else to help him. I guess I think we talked
yeah
about it already. It's going to
DeJounte
be
yeah
scary to see. I'm excited.
yeah. I'm excited for the team. Now I will say though, Darius and Trae, I guess you can say they're somewhat similar because they were the offense for their team last season, right? However, the difference was I felt like in Cleveland's case, because no one really expected them to do anything, it just bolstered them up. Now, give credit to where credit is due. Darius Garland balled out last season. He deserved to be an all-star last season, all that good stuff, right? But with that being said, though, DG has a player in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Trae Young last season had players like John Collins and Clint Capella. Now, granted, Clint Capella was a little injured or whatever, but the chemistry wasn't really there with Trae and those guys. Darius did have that chemistry. I think that matters. I think Darius having that chemistry with
Better
those guys,
players, though.
showing like that's my point. So I think you've got to look at it from being a leader. I would put DG over Trae, and I still wouldn't put either of them in my top five. I think Dame just out of pure talent, pure skill, I would give Dame over those guys. However, Dame is getting older though, and he was injured all last season, so I could be really wrong. CJ McCollum is also a point guard. He could be mentioned there. But I wouldn't say that he's better than those other guys. But like it's
Top
it's
10 maybe.
definitely up for debate. It's a great debate because Darius Garland
Dame is
still
a
has
good choice.
a lot to prove. But I would give Dame just a slight edge right now. But that could definitely change in like 3 months into
They're
the
so
season,
similar
right?
in what they do for their teams.
The three of them, if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably put it. Trey is in my list, but if we're talking not last season withstanding, because last season really pushed for me Trey over the edge, it would be Dame, Trey, and Darius Garland in terms of like the best versions that we have of them in our minds, because Dame and Trey, their situations were kind of similar, like their teams were kind of buns, but I guess, kind of falling back on my sword here a little bit, we saw what Dame could do in the playoffs. For me, like that's a legitimate thing to track from him. I think it's two things. One, they're not going to win with him as their best player. You can't. You need somebody on his level or better
True.
to take that team to new heights. But you
Agreed.
don't have those expectations with Trey, right? By the time, he's actually hit his peak, the league as a whole is going to look different. The team is going to look different, right? So we're not holding that against Trey. Two, and I actually do take this, like, I think this takes him down a little bit. I know it's kind of stupid. He doesn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave. And I am taking points off just for that, because if
Oh,
you're a winner, if you actually have that mentality that, hey, I want to win,
I'll give you that.
the team would have, like, if you would have said, hey, like, things aren't working
But
out,
isn't
can you
that such
please
a
just
double
trade me?
standard though, bro? Like, don't you hate it when
To
players
this,
like
look,
leave and
you're
stuff like
right,
that?
you're right, but to this extent, it's extreme. Like, we know, and it's just to me, it just seems like like a lack of self-awareness or
So,
something,
so why wasn't it? Why was LeBron such a big deal? And I know we're getting off topic, but I do want to get into this real quick. Why was LeBron such a big deal if he's leaving a team that didn't do anything like to surround him, right? And I get it. LeBron is LeBron, right? LeBron is like he's like MJ of our era, right? He's Kobe of our era. But wouldn't the same go for Dame? Like I don't know. Like if Dame
Nah,
left,
because the
wouldn't Dame?
narratives are different. LeBron has always had hate, always. When he left Cleveland, from then on, they're like, no, no, no. Even though you're doing what's best for you, when you made that super team, we're done with you, bro. Dame, everybody was begging him, and to a much lesser extent,
I
Bradley
guess
Beal, please leave. We want to see our best players succeed, like our favorite players succeed.
true.
And then they went for the bag. We know it's not a loyalty thing. Maybe not for Dame, but for
It's
Bradley,
money,
like
bro.
it's money
it's
because
money. And
it's
I'm all
generational
for it.
wealth, I
Get
guess.
your
But
bread, baby.
you
Get your
still would
bread.
be making like 30, 35, maybe even 40 million. And I don't think 40 million is a small amount, especially because some of the best players in the world are making that much money or close to it,
True.
and they're contending, and you're not.
Yeah.
So I take points, like I said, I take points off because I don't see that killer instinct, that drive to want to succeed. Because if you wanted to
Okay.
succeed, you would have put in a trade request, and now your team is the same it's always been. You got
Yeah,
Anthony
it's
Simons,
just
who's another
flatlining.
CJ 2.0. You got Jeremy Grant, who if he wants to be, Nuggets Jeremy Grant, yeah, but we know he's probably going to want to be Detroit Jeremy Grant, and then you're not going to get anywhere with that. It's like this team is going nowhere, and it's your fault, Damian. It's your fault. You could have
And that's
requested
why
a trade.
he's not
Yeah,
a top 5 point guard.
that's
That's
why. I know it sounds
crazy.
stupid,
Love it. No, I'm
and
all
I know
for it.
it sounds stupid, but yeah.
You know what? You've convinced me enough. Convinced me enough to put Darius Garland. No, I'm kidding. No, I can see the Trae Young thing. I'm just gonna keep Dame just off of pure talent. I feel like Dame is just the better overall player. However, I will say this: 3 months from now, once the NBA has been, has started already, I would say yes, probably Trae Young. Only it really just depends on what goes on throughout the season. But that's a good one. Is Chris Paul not gonna get any love here? By the way, I just wanna. Okay,
No,
why is he
even
not in the
before
top
last
five?
season, because I was the one who was saying it. That team was a team of frauds. Nobody believed me, and I feel vindicated after last season. So no, he is not a top 5 point guard. Not even a
Damn.
top 5 point. Nah, I don't know about that.
I see. That's what I was gonna
Probably
ask.
He's
Is
probably
he
borderline,
so?
but
For those
you
who
go.
don't remember, we kind of did a similar video to this about a year and a half ago, I would say. This is back in like my old room. It was like whatever. Thing is, we did a video and we talked about the top 5 point guards of all time. If I and my memory is so bad right now, but I would say that we had, in no particular order, we had Magic, we had Steph, we had CP3, we had Jason Kidd, Steve Nash. Or I believe that was my top five. I don't remember if that was your guys, but I believe that was mine. Obviously Jason Kidd still in top five. Obviously Steve Nash, maybe. Well, after being a coach, he sucks. But whatever, that's not the point. But Chris Paul, I think after this past season, it kind of just became like you're just another Westbrook to me now. Like, what have you done in the playoffs without legitimate stars? And when you had legitimate stars, you've done nothing. Now, injuries do happen. I get it, but at the same time, it's like this past season, there's really no coming back from that one. Like, unless you completely sweep this entire Western Conference this upcoming season, and you completely sweep in the playoffs in the finals. I mean, then maybe and like you're the best player there along with D Book. Okay, maybe then you can say that you're a top 5
But
point
even
guard. But
then,
I
we
don't.
know he's not going to be the best player on that team, so he's
It's
not
D
even
Book's team.
leading his team. It's going to be D Book's team. Yeah.
Steve Book's team. So I don't know. Is he taking off your top five point guards of all time? Maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
who else are
I
you putting
think
there?
for me,
Right?
definitely
We have Magic, like we said. Steph, obviously.
Isaiah.
Jason Kidd,
Jason
Isaiah.
Kidd, is he top 5?
I would put Jason Kidd top five.
There's no
I think he
favoritism, no
was.
bias there.
No. I think, bro. When you think about what he did in the league, um, taking the Nets franchise that was like 26 games, I think they won. The year after they won 56 and they went to the final because of Jason Kidd, right? And then the year after they went to the finals again. Now they did lose both times, but they could have beaten San Antonio if Byron Scott wasn't such a bad coach. But that's neither here nor there. The thing is, Jason Kidd really helped that team, and it wasn't even just that. His first stint in Dallas, he was a good player. It was the fact that Jim Jackson and those guys. It was just chemistry issue. And then in Phoenix, he was also a good player. He was there before Nash was there, and it was like, oh my god, like this guy's really there. But then once he got to Jersey, he was different. Like he was crazy.
My
And
only
then
thing is, like, if he
back in
would have
Dallas,
somehow won a chip during that time period, I know he was coming up against those Laker teams. He didn't really have a chance. But if history played out a little different and he had a chip to validate those prime years, because the chip that he definitely contributed to that team. But Dirk was the big guy. And I wouldn't even say
yeah,
he was like the
no,
second
I
best
I
player on that team.
understand. I understand that, but like, okay, all right. So let's just say take Jason Kidd out. Who we put in there?
Oscar,
Oscar
yeah.
Robertson.
So Steph, Magic, Oscar, Isaiah. That's 4 already.
Yeah, and then who's your fifth? I mean, you can interchange Steve Nash because he won back-to-back MVPs and everyone won a championship. But you can interchange him and Jay.
I'd probably put Stockton just because we're comparing at this point. We're comparing people or Westbrook. We're comparing people who don't have championships, and when it comes down to that, it's stats.
Kid has one.
It's stats.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
right.
When it comes to stats, yes, John Stockton, number one all time in assists. No one's ever going to beat that. Number one all time in steals.
He's a leader.
No one's ever going to beat that.
He had a really good 3-point percentage. If he played in another era, he probably would have shot more.
He would have dominated too. No matter what era he would have played in, he would have dominated. He was that good. Jerry West is another point guard you can mention. I mean, though he was really a shooting guard, but no.
I'd say he was a shooting guard.
I don't know. I mean, then you got players like Westbrook, like you said, right? But he's another one with that same thing with Chris Paul. It's like, what have you done? What have you done in the playoffs? It's not really much. I mean, you had KD, still couldn't do much, right? So it's a lot. But I guess what we're trying to say is, if Chris Paul isn't top 5 right now, he's definitely not top 5 all time. Simple. It's done. Unless he wins a championship this season and he's the best player on this team, maybe not the best player, but at least second best player, maybe he might have a chance. But right now he's not. So back to the topic at hand. Number 5, and I think we're both in agreement here. We're gonna put James Harden. Number 4, it's where we get a little, I'm saying Dame, you're saying Trey. I'm going to let you take this one. Trae Young is number 4 because Dame, he was out all last season, right? And Trey did everything he could, until all the defenses started going up on him, right?
But Dame can take that spot this season. I think it'd be.
He can. So it
wouldn't be a hot take to say he'll be that 4th best point guard.
Right. So, but let's just say, for argument's sake, we got Trae Young. All right. Number 3. So this is where the top 3 guys come in: Ja Morant, Steph, Luka. Those are our 3 point guards, right? Like, let's.
Yes. Do you think our top 3 are going to be unanimous, or do you think there's going to be like some kind of?
I think it's unanimous. I think if you look at it from last season, during the regular season, it was Ja Morant, but he was in the running for most improved. He won it. He was also low key in the running for MVP. I think he was like top 6 in voting. I'm not too sure. But he was definitely up there, right? Like he led his team. He helped out a lot. Steph Curry, obviously, coming off Finals MVP. The Magic Johnson Award, I believe that's what it's called, right? The Western Conference Player of the Playoffs. I don't know what that thing's called. But Steph Curry won that as well. And he won a championship. Like it's Steph. And then there's Luka, who brought a really sorry Mavs team to the conference finals and obliterated Chris Paul, Devin Booker,
Were they
and
sorry?
the Phoenix Suns. Yes. Let's come on. Jalen Brunson was your second best player. What's he really going to do in New York?
Hear me out. I wouldn't say they were sorry, but they definitely weren't contenders. So they were in between this tier. Because look what they did to Phoenix. Phoenix definitely underperformed, but they were like legitimate contenders for like the whole year. And this team, well constructed, consistent depth, top to bottom. They were just lacking that second superstar to really help Luka. Jalen was not that type of player.
And he won't be in New York. By the way.
He won't. No, he won't be. Actually, he will be the secondary star in New York. He won't be a secondary superstar because they don't have a single superstar.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, right. Oh, will he though be a secondary superstar? I don't know. Whatever. That's a whole next topic that we'll have. Actually, wearing orange.
Yes. Nice. Yes. Yeah. R.I.P. Knicks.
Nothing to do with anything, but yeah. But
that team was pretty decent. Definitely Luka. I would say he carried them.
You're not
Jason Kidd was a good coach, and they had a good Dorian Finney-Smith.
You're not going to bank on Maxi Kleber hitting all those threes that he did this upcoming season like that. Like just because he did it once.
They got Christian Wood, who was a better him. Probably literally.
Offensively
no defense, all offense. No defense, all offense. Right?
Horrible, but yeah.
Yeah, but same thing with Maxi. Like Maxi was getting eaten alive out there. But they got Tim Hardaway Jr. coming back. That's pretty important. Spencer Dinwiddie will have a full offseason with the team. Yeah. He'll be healthy. He'll fall into that second.
No, Dinwiddie will be solid off that. Yeah, he'll be great off the bench. But playing the playoff, I mean, against the Warriors, he was atrocious. Like it was bad. But
he was very inconsistent. He would have one baller game, one horrendous game. That's a lot of players are like that though.
That's a Dinwiddie for you. But with that being said, okay. All right, so maybe to you they weren't sorry. I think they were sorry. It was like with the AI in 2001.
Yeah, that's true.
You had
All
what? Tyronn
defense,
Hill
he was the
as your
only
second best
offense.
player.
Yeah.
You had freaking Dikembe at like 45 years old. What was his face?
Didn't he win
Eric Snow.
Depoy that year?
I'm not sure. He probably did because that defense was great. But Eric Snow really was like their guy. Like, he was really nice on defense. He really complimented AI. But anyway, back to this.
Good analogy.
These three guys, yeah, because think about it. It's one team, and then
One
even the
offensive
Eastern
superstar
Conference
carrying their offense.
Yeah, and Luka, bro, Luka was different. And now he's coming back. And he's coming into the season hopefully in shape.
He's looking like
He could potentially win.
Shape, yeah.
Potentially might win MVP. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Spoilers
We'll see.
for
I say that.
MVP.
I say it all the time. Yes, another teaser for you. But let's go. Number three. Let's go number three. For those not watching on YouTube, please do because that was a great moment. Anyway, top three. So out of those three guys, who was the worst one out of the three? That's basically what we're saying. Like start bench cut. Who are you cutting and putting as your number three on that list?
Ja Morant.
I agree. I think it's not even a discussion. I mean, unless Ja Morant takes another leap, which I can see him doing. I mean, he does need more help now that Jaren.
It won't be a leap because a leap is like a huge jump. It'll be progress.
Gradual,
he just needs to get
gradual
good
progress.
He just needs to get decent.
And his 3-point shot still needs a lot of improvement. I mean, it's solid, but
one or the other.
He needs
hopefully both, but it's got to be one or the other. You can't say the same.
I think he can be really good defensively because of his athleticism alone.
Definitely,
like he's really good. Like there's just no other way to say it. He's just a really good basketball player. But you're right, defensively, I think he can improve a lot. But then again, you don't really need to. You got Dylan Brooks, you got Desmond Bain, you got Jaren when he comes back. As of right now, Brandon Clark, Steven Adams. They got a solid players around him that instead what he should focus on is his shooting. So John and how to land, bro. If my man gets hurt this upcoming season, no, we're not doing this, Ja. Learn how to land your feet, please. Derrick Rose. But does he have a case, Ja Morant, for MVP? And I know we're gonna have a whole separate video for it later on. But as the number one option on a good team, will he have a case for it? And again, like I said, we'll get into it. But just as of right now, for content purposes,
as of right now,
will Ja Morant have a legitimate chance?
No. It'll be an outside chance,
really?
Just because the other people. It depends. If the other people get injured, yeah. I think we had this conversation before. It's like, yes. If those other players didn't exist, he would own 100%. But the thing is, there's other players doing what he does better. And when you have that, and they're bigger names like Luka and Steph, it's kind of hard,
If you think about it too, it's like Luka has a better chance because he's a better player, and Joel Embiid deserves one, right? So like those two guys, as of right now, just again teasing, those are my top two guys for MVP race. But then you got
Giannis coming back. The voter fatigue might be over.
But that's the thing. Maybe that. There's a lot of factors you could. But if Jokic decides to go off again and even excel and do more, maybe he might win back to back. Who knows?
Jokic,
LeBron always
he won't win it, but those guys, what they do, they don't win it. They won't win it, but they take away votes from Ja Morant. He's going to be in that mix of the guy who takes away votes from other people.
Right.
That's
like
the group that I put him in. He was like third, right? Or fourth, right?
I think it was fourth. Yeah,
it's one of those. It's like
shout
you're
out
four,
to
but
you don't really
have a chance to win it, but you're still getting some votes. He's just gonna be that guy.
I still think though, he has the better chance. Between him and Steph, I would say Ja Morant has more of a chance because Steph has such a good team around him. But with that being said, Steph Curry and Luka Doncic. So this is where it can really go either way. I'm going to start off on this one. I'm going to say I'm putting Steph number one. And
wow.
The reason why I'm putting Steph number one as of right now, the story, right? Coming off of Finals MVP, being the best player on that team, and just being Steph, the way that he plays, the way that he's just such a good player and such a good person, I guess you can say, on the outside, obviously looking in. Like he epitomizes what the NBA wants in a superstar. Him and LeBron are two of the most like non-problematic superstars I think the NBA has ever seen. Steph Curry, his game speaks for itself. He runs so much. The defenses are attracted to him. It's like you can't look away for it, not even a split second, because if you do, he's on the other side of the court and ready to splash that three, right? Like he's just that good, that lethal, and not only that, one of the best finishers in the rim, solid defender, bro. Like he's stepped up defensively this past season, in the past 2 seasons, I guess you can say.
Yeah, because he was. I would say I wouldn't say he's like great, maybe good. I would say he
He's like a
used to be
D'Angelo Russell
bad.
type.
He used to be
Yeah,
bad, but now he's decent,
respectable. He's respectable.
respectable,
That's what it is.
and that's all he needed to be. And
Yeah,
I think that's what you just said right there. That's what separates between him and Luka. Obviously, some other stuff there too. Luka is not even a respectable defender. He is a bad defender, and
not yet.
at that
He can
size,
be though.
he
Yeah,
can be, especially at that size.
yeah,
It
6'7", 6'8", yeah.
it might just be that because he has to carry this team's offense, like we've seen it before. But
Like
we've seen
Harden.
this excuse happen before. It's like, oh, they have to carry the team's offense. They can't play any defense. Like,
And you know
uh,
what though? And you can't even be mad at Luka like that too, because it's like Luka is what, fourth year, fifth year in the league. Like it's not been that long since he's been in the league, and we're already talking about him being potentially the best point guard in the league compared to Steph. Like it's crazy to think. So he has so much more room for growth. Now it's just a matter of how much he wants it. He definitely, I mean, by the looks of it, he looks like he might want it, right? Like he might want to be a better defender. If that does happen, well, we look back on this video and say, "Oh, we were wrong. Like Steph is number 2, and it's Luka number 1." Or does
I
it
really
matter
hope so.
in the
I
playoffs?
really hope so. Like, please prove me wrong. This is one of those takes that I hope please prove me wrong because I love both Steph and Luka, but Luka, he just I can't describe
Luka's
it.
my
Like
guy.
he's
Luka's
my
my
guy.
guy.
Like that
He's coming to
feeling you
Brooklyn.
get when you're watching the best player in the world. Not saying that he is, but you get that feeling sometimes when you're watching him. It's like, whoa, I'm witnessing something historical right now.
We're
So,
seeing the next LeBron. If I'm like,
that's what I'm
it's
comparing it
he's
to.
that
Like
good.
that's what I
He's that
feel
good.
like. So this
Yeah,
is
we're
like
watching
akin
greatness.
to maybe LeBron's earlier years when Kobe was the best player in the league, but LeBron was coming for that throne, and then maybe in Kobe's later years, not when he was old, LeBron kind of took it, but they were still coexisting, and there was actually a legitimate like
Should
debate
have been
for
a
those couple of
finals.
years.
Yeah.
They should have been, but if LeBron just had
In
Amari
Orlando.
Stoudemire, I've seen a lot of what ifs. If you'd had Amari
Oh,
Stoudemire,
yo, we should do that, bro. We should do like what if conspiracy theories. Like what if
what if?
LeBron went to Chicago and joined with D Rose and Dwayne Wade instead of going to Miami?
What if? Yeah. I think the more realistic one would be Stoudemire because Cleveland had the trade and they chose not to do it. If he had the secondary like star, we might have seen a LeBron Kobe finals and that would have just been like I think Kobe probably still would have won it, but it still would have been nice
Hell
to see them
yeah.
go head to head.
Kobe's way better than LeBron.
In that
Let me
year,
stop.
2009, do you think?
Let me stop. But probably, I don't know, man. It
But
was
there was a
wild.
legitimate
I mean,
debate. But yeah, it's like the same thing
yep.
now. It's like history is repeating itself. We're seeing a top 5 caliber player in the league in his fourth year, what 2018,
He was drafted
2023,
18, so
four?
it'd be fifth year,
19. It would
right?
be 19 because he drafted 18. So 19 to 23, that's 4 years, yeah.
Wait, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23.
That's
5.
his fifth season?
This is well,
Ah,
it's his.
yeah.
Yeah, he's getting paid now. Yeah. So shout out Luka.
Ah, that's
We were
crazy.
there
Yo,
from day
thank you
one,
for
baby.
doing that math because I was gonna say so 5 years in, this is history repeating itself and you love to see it. But that being said, he is number 2.
He is number 2, and it's not that it's not a debate, but it's like you can't say Steph isn't the best point guard right now. It's just disrespectful if you say otherwise. Now I would understand. Maybe there is another person that says, "Oh no, it has to be Luka because look what he did." And I get it. Luka did have a way worse team, and he beat way better teams this playoff run. I guess you could say record-wise, right? Because Warriors beat depleted Nuggets team. Whatever. Then they beat the Grizzlies. John Morant was out. Like it. Like there's definitely those narratives, but at the same time, it's like Steph. Steph is Steph. Like there's just no question about it. But
He is him.
yeah, exactly. Timothy. With all that though, Isandro, let's give it our 1 through 5. Steph Curry, right? Luka, John Morant, Trae Young. Also, by the way, 2 players from the 2018 draft traded for each other. Shows great Great GMs. And then number 5, James Harden. That one is definitely up in the air, I would say. I think James Harden is like James Harden and Trey really are like but I guess you can give Trey more of a pass than you can for James Harden, only because it's back-to-back seasons, hamstring injury, just out of shape, not really in mentally there. So it's,
he looks motivated though. I think he's
could
going
be.
to be motivated.
He could be.
So he might
It's
even
really
rise
exciting.
up to 4 with a Dame sliding in at 5th, depending, because Trey and DeJounte might take away from each other a little bit in that respect. Like
That's kind of my thought on it. Oh yeah, because Darius Garland could definitely make a case.
He could take another leap. He's going to be a year 4 player.
We didn't even mention Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
He's a shooting guard though. That's why we didn't say it.
No. Well,
Giddey's their point guard.
Josh Giddey. Yeah, I guess you can say.
He might be top 10 next year. We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, we're wrapping up.
Pleasure.
Okay, all right.
Nice. She will be on this. She's gonna show up on the thing. I want you to know that.
She's gonna be famous.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Shout your mom out. But with that being said, what a moment. I love this. This is great because now it's like if you haven't seen this part yet, you will want to see this part. It is a great part.
Yep.
But with that being said, Isandro, thank you again for talking. Next week, I guess we'll do shooting guards. We'll see. We'll do our homework a little bit better this time because this one was just like, let's just do it.
We just Googled it, yeah.
We'll just we'll have more fun next week, and we'll definitely, if you guys want us to talk about a certain team, I have we still have the Boston one. We still haven't done Boston
because we need Joel.
But we'll get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it though. But with all that being said, guys, please have a nice day. Please like, subscribe, and hit the like button down below. Shout us out to all your friends, family, cats, dogs, and sisters, and